Designers consider their options and then proceed to work out those details. That first step is called idea generation. And what we want to do here is we want to approach a new product and generate as many ideas as we can. It isn't uncommon for us to be missing certain ideas or elements or details, but I mean, it's just about getting ideas out there quickly. Doesn't matter. It isn't really focusing on the detail just at this moment. Generate as many approaches and then decide on which one is the most efficient for the task you're trying to solve for. The next step is adding detail and refinement. So step by step, you work on refining those sketches and then adding more detail. It's okay to kill some of your ideas here, and that's the point. So don't really get bogged down by all the messy sketches or the lack of detail. Just keep on going and refining, and it'll come over time. Now let's jump right into how we actually take a look at that process and we go from idea generation all the way to refinement. Now that first step is generating ideas like we just spoke about. Now these are the initial sketches you basically create, and they have lower level details. They have no colors usually, maybe some colors to signify key parts of the sketch, but the goal here is to draw a lot of basic sketches. You'll notice here that there's just like a square, an arrow, some text. I mean, at this point, like I said, just generating as many options as you possibly can. Don't get bogged down by those details. From here, we're gonna start really kind of refining and start adding some details, and we can start making some sketch-like wireframes. And you'll notice that your promising sketches start to lead to more detailed view. And it may not have all the details still, and that's totally fine, but it will have a lot of the key details, and you want to refine those from those sketches that you had over here. So you'll notice that like we start adding a little more elements and different types of UI elements up here, and down here, buttons, different types of inputs. This is when we're starting to think a little bit more about interaction. Now, it will feature a lot more detail flows as well. So we'll get into this soon, don't worry about that. The next step, so when I'm getting into visual design and start thinking much more about these wireframes in much more detail, I'm actually going to refine a lot of sketches and start to pull out certain elements that I think are really needed. So like I'll start to realize that as I start building out these kind of components, I'm going to need like buttons, I'm going to need different inputs, I'm going to need to account for different types of content. And that's really going to help us in the future when we're thinking about the different types of requirements that we need. That is the basic process from going from ideas all the way to components. Next, we're going to be talking about entire sketching process.